Hi everyone, my name is Lori, my nickname is Reenie, and I'd like to welcome you to Reenie Bobini Creations. If this is the first time you've stopped by to check out my channel, I'd really like to welcome you. I do hope you like what you see, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing and sharing with your fellow crafters. I'd love to hear a comment from you as well. If you've been to see me before and you're back, I'm so grateful that you are. If you haven't already subscribed, it would mean the world to me if you would. So for today's craft, we're doing something kind of really cool. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be doing an outside lamp using solar lights and pillar candle holders, and it turned out really well. I'm really pleased with it. So it's all stuff you can get dollarama, thrift stores, all that kind of stuff. So super budget friendly, not difficult at all, but I love the outcome. So I hope you like it too. So let me stop yakking at ya and we'll get on with the crafting. Alright, so getting started with today's project, you're going to need 3 pillar candle holders. Mine happened to be silver. I got them at a thrift store for like next to nothing, so I don't need to paint them because silver is the color I wanted as my base coat. But if you find different colors, just go ahead and give them a coat of, you can do silver spray paint, so silver acrylics, either way would work just fine, but you'll need 3 of them. Then the dollarama and most dollar stores have these little, I'm going to say they're planters. You need one of these. Now I had mine as something else, but I'm redoing it, so that's why it's got this sort of mottled coat of paint on there, but that's going to go. But one of these little wooden buckets that I think I paid $1.50 at Dollarama for. You're going to need a mason jar, and with your mason jar, you want to make sure that a solar light is going to fit on top, and I made sure I picked one that had one. I don't seem to have it in front of me, but you'll see that bit later. Anyway, so getting started with these silver pillar candles, we're going to paint them so they look like galvanized. So I've got 3 paint colors. Now you can use a gray as well. I just find when I'm doing the white and black, it makes the gray that I'm looking for usually anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. So these are just, again, Dollarama, and then the apple barrel from Walmart. Please excuse the condition of my hands. I've been doing a lot of yard work lately, so they're a little yucky, but anyway. So getting started, so we have the silver base, and once you got there, I'm just going to go in with just a sponge, and I'm just going to add different shades on there and sort of blend them. And so the silver comes through a little bit and gives it that sort of underlying, but we want to tone that down quite a bit. And I find that the silver acrylic from Dollarama, although it does have a sheen, it's not super shiny like they started out as. So it tones it down as well, but you still have that underlying sort of silver bucket look. So, and there's tons of tutorials on different ways of doing this look. So one lady, I really liked her idea. I wasn't talented enough to make it work. She just used one of these, so she got those, you know, they sort of almost have a triangle pattern in there. So keep trying. She did an amazing job. I don't think mine turned out quite as good, but I did get my little brush out just so I could work on doing that. And you're just going to go around and you're going to do this to all 3. And just like I said, using black, white, and or gray if you choose to. Like I said, I find that while I'm working with it, the white and the black blend together to make that gray, so it works for me. Okay, so now while those are drying up here, we're going to get to work on this part. Now we're going to cut a hole in there. Again, you're going to need your solar light so you can kind of gauge where that little solar panel is. So that's my solar light, so it's quite large, and I'm just going to cut a square out so that solar panel sort of can get the sun. And I'm just going to sort of draw a circle around and kind of go in the middle there, just sort of eyeballing it. I'm not going to be perfect. There, so then I found that just using your X-Acto knife, you can cut through this reasonably easily, so you don't need any special saws or anything. And you can see I sort of started it there, and it's not perfect, but it will definitely do what I need it to do. You may have to go over your lines a couple of times to make it pop out, but the wood's quite thin, so it will certainly do the trick for you. And don't worry if you don't get a perfectly clean cut, we'll clean up the top after. You can see there that it's just about ready to pop out of there. There we go. So, now that that's out, we are going to go ahead and paint it. Now, I'm going to do a distress technique. So, I'm going to base coat it in red to start with. But then I am going to go over it later with white. So whatever color you kind of want to peek through after a distress, that's the first color you want to put on. So just because my house and my deck and everything is in red and white, I'm going to go with this Tuscan red. I think it would be beautiful in an aqua. Just about every color would work just beautifully. So whatever colors work in your home, in your scheme, just use those because they will definitely do the trick for you. It's just personal preference as far as color. Like I said, my house has a lot of the reds in it. So yeah, so nothing special. I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to give it just a base coat of this red. And this is one of those ones your coverage does not need to be perfect because we're going to go over it again. So decent coverage, but it doesn't have to be, absolutely perfect. You don't need to do 2 or 3 coats or anything. We're gonna, like I said, give it a distress when we're done, and so you won't. It doesn't need to be flawless. One thing I thought I'd better point out here is I am going to do the inside, and I'm going to do all the ridges, the cut areas, I guess. I'm going to paint those too. Alright, so they're all painted up to look like galvanized. Now, I didn't probably mention this, but no need to do the tops or bottoms, and I'll show you why in a minute here. So our next step is we are going to stack them on top of each other. Sorry, that's probably really hard to see. Just like that. So using our handy E6000, I'm just going to stack them right on top of each other. So just go around the edge. Now if you want to keep going, I would put some hot glue as well, but I'm actually going to go on to the next step, which I'll show you, so this can just dry. And I'm not going to do the tube glue method, but you certainly can do that if you wish. So, I'm also going to take our mason jar and I'm going to glue that on the top too, just again with the E6000. So just running the bead along the bottom of the mason jar, make sure it's on there good. Almost forgot that step. Go. And just center it the best you can there. And then we'll let that whole thing dry. And when we come back, we'll give it a seal coat and we'll put our project together. While that's drying, so this is the top now. So this is what you should be left with, and I did, I think I said to do the inside too, and all the bits here. So now my next step, I've got our cutout, is I am going to go ahead, let me put the lid on this before it makes a big mess. I've got some chalk paint. Now I was out of my usual chalk paint, so I just made some. So all I did was add white paint, a tablespoon of plaster of Paris, and just water until it was the consistency I was happy with. So now when you're doing this one, I am just going to do just the outside. Now if I'm not going to do like on the little lines in here, and I'm not going to do the inside, I don't think. If I might change my mind, we'll see how it looks. But if I do get someone here, I'm not going to be concerned about it, because like I said, we're going to do a sort of an aged thing at the end. But I'm not going to purposely paint all of this time. I'm just going to do a coat on the outside. So just going over it. Now you can see it is dripping in. I'm okay with that. I'm just not going to do it on purpose, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. We'll see, you'll see at the end what I'm saying here. So just giving it that good coat. I'm going to do all 4 sides, and then we'll let that get good and dry, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so coming back to our galvanized looking stand here, I do want to distress this a little bit as well, and I wanted to make it look a little bit rusty. So I have a really cool trick to do it. I love the way it works. So I don't know if you can sort of see that. All it is some nutmeg and either cinnamon. I happen to be running out of cinnamon. So it's just nutmeg and cloves. And I'm going to add some Mod Podge to it. So I'm going to be using the outdoor Mod Podge simply because this is going to go outside. If you're not putting this project outside, you can use just the regular Mod Podge. Even white glue would work. So I'm just going to pour a little in. I'm going to leave my brush quite wet to mix it up. So just some water on your paintbrush. And I'm just going to mix it together. And when it's all mixed and kind of goopy like this, I'm just going to sort of put it where I think something might be rusty. And I'm just going to be very random about it. I think I need a bit more water. This thing wants to roll right way on me here. Yeah, it does soak up the water pretty good, so you may just need to keep sort of adding it. But see how it's sort of standing up? I mean, it gives you more than just the color, it gives you the texture. And when it dries especially, it looks really cool. So yeah, just paint it on wherever you think it should have some rust. Okay, so you should be left with something that looks like this. And now, like I said, we are going to distress it. So I've just got a piece of sandpaper here. And I don't know what grit it is, 120, just whatever you have in your stash. And I'm just going to start taking off some of the white paint. And you can sort of see there how it's kind of getting distressed. And I'm just kind of going to do that all over it. Okay, so we've all sanded it off, made it a bit distressed, and I'm just going to add one last sort of distressing technique to it. I'm just using, this is from our Dollarama, it's espresso. Burnt umber is a good option as well. I'm just going to put a little bit on a brush, and we're going to do that dry brush technique. So going to dry your brush off. Put some of it on your brush, and then you're going to wipe most of it off. And then just wherever you think it needs a little dirtying up, I guess. So we want this to look like it's seen some things and it's been around a while and got a little history in there somewhere. So just that illusion of that. And again, this is personal preference. If you don't want that look, you can absolutely skip this step. You can do as much or as little as suits you in your decor style. Just whatever works for you. Alright, so for the finishing touch, I just felt like it needed something along the bottom to make it feel more finished. So I just had some of this rope left over from a previous project. I did dirty it up just a little bit with the same paint. But I felt like it just needed that little finishing touch. So just with my hot glue, I'm going to attach it right along that bottom edge. Don't worry about this bit, we'll fix that up when we're done. So I'm just going to go all the way around the bottom. And then I'm going to hopefully go all the way around the top edge too, just to pull it all together. So that's all we're going to do with this. And again, use what you have. If you have a nautical rope, whatever you have on hand, just use that. Alright, so that's what you should be left with. I'm much happier with the edges of that now. And so now we just need to put it together. So, solar light. You are just going to put the glue around the outside, making sure that the solar panel can get through our hole in the top there. So I'm just going to use hot glue. You can use something more permanent, but I thought if this ever dies, I want to be able to pull it out. And usually you can with the hot glue. I might take some paint, but nobody's going to see that anyway. So just like so. Give it a second to get good and dry in there. Perfect. And then we will put our lamp together, and that is the finished product, and I will show you a better picture of it here in a second. So here is our finished product, and this little solar lamp just suits my decor, and you can see how you can totally do it to suit anybody's decor. So I really hope you like it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching.